Welcome to the video guide for the IHW Registration Form. This video is specifically designed to help complete the IHW Registration Form for new submissions from either generators or transporters of hazardous and industrial waste. First, let's go over how to search for the correct and latest IHW Registration Form. In the upper right corner of the TCEQ website, you will see a search bar. Enter form 4 zeros and a 2 into this bar. Once the search bar results have populated, the first result should be the PDF for the TCEQ IHW registration form. Click on the link to open the PDF in your browser. By searching for the form, you ensure you have the latest version of the form. To get the written instructions, scroll to the top of the beginning of the form in the PDF document. Look for the link that says Instructions for filling out this form. To download this form, simply click the download icon in the top right of the page. This icon varies from browser to browser. The written instructions are important to review since it gives detail on specifics. Frequently asked questions. Do I need to fill out the solid waste registration number for a new submission? No. For the new submissions, leave the solid waste registration number blank. Your site will be assigned a solid waste registration number when the TCEQ processes the notification. If you know that the site has a regulated entity number, also known as an RN, provide the RN in Part A, number 2, on the form. If the TCEQ has assigned your company a customer number, also known as a CN, provide the CN for your company in Part B, question 14. If your site does not have an RN or your company does not have a CN, you can leave those fields blank. Do universal waste need to be listed on the IHW Notice of Registration? No. Universal waste does not count toward the facility's generator status and does not have to be reported. It does not have to be manifested. Disposal facilities may require a generating facility to use a manifest because the disposal facility must report the receipt of universal waste. If the disposal facility requires the generator to manifest the universal waste, the generator can use the sequence code UNIV to manifest the universal waste. Can any registration paperwork be emailed? No. EPA's CROMER regulations stipulate that the submittals must be submitted via fax, postal mail, or via secured electronic method. Email is not a secured electronic method. Can initial registration paperwork be faxed? No. TCEQ and EPA require original signatures on paperwork for any initial submittals. What is a Texas Waste Code? A Texas Waste Code is an 8-character code that identifies a waste. The code is comprised of 3 parts, a sequence code, plus the Texas form code, plus the classification code. An example of a Texas waste code for a hazardous lab pack generated by VSQG would be VSQG-00001H. The following is a list of valid sequence codes for the first 4 characters of the waste code. 0001 through 9,999 for generators with solid waste registration number. UNIV for all universal waste, including universal waste from outside of Texas. OUTS for out-of-state and foreign generators. VSQG or CESQG for very small quantity generators or conditionally exempt small quantity generators. A unique combination of letters and numbers for unregistered episodic or short-term generators. RRCT for Railroad Commission Regulated Waste. TSDF for waste subject to Title 30 of the Texas Administrative Code, 335.503B8. IMPR for waste generated by importers of record with Texas EPA IDs, or HOUS for hazardous waste collected during household hazardous waste collection events. North American Industrial Classification System Code. The code should indicate the classification for the ultimate business use of the site. Go to census.gov/NAICS for a list of NAICS codes. It's a standardized system used to classify businesses and industries based on their economic activities. Each industry is assigned a unique 6-digit NAICS code that reflects its primary focus. What is the purpose of this form? This form is used for both new notifications and updates. The following facilities should register using this form: recyclers of Class 1 industrial or hazardous waste, commercial transporters, transfer facilities of industrial Class 1 waste or hazardous waste, those who dispose of industrial waste or hazardous waste at their own facility, those who consistently generate more than 220 pounds of non-acute hazardous waste in a calendar month, those who consistently generate 2.2 pounds or more of acute hazardous waste in a calendar month, and those who consistently generate more than 220 pounds of Class 1 industrial waste in a calendar month. Please read the instructions for additional information to determine if this form should be used for your facility and registration type. Note that incomplete forms will not be processed and may be returned to the sender for completion. Items in bold must be filled out for all notifications. Items with asterisks are required for all new registrations. Please print clearly or type. Solid waste registrations get assigned numbers by the TCEQ when they send in new submissions. For new notifications, leave the solid waste registration number blank. Your site will be assigned a solid waste registration number when TCEQ processes the notification. The SWR number is site-specific and stays with the site throughout its lifetime. If the company moves to a new site location, the company should submit a new notification form to obtain a new SWR number for the new site. Do not use numbers assigned to another site's address. If your site has an existing solid waste registration, you will update the existing solid waste registration, even if you are a different company from the prior occupant of the site. Let's review Part A site information. This refers to the specific location that is being registered. The site is the actual physical address where the regulated activity takes place. However, for transporters, the location of their office or truck lot should be provided as the site information. Now let's move on to the EPA ID. This is a 12-character identification number assigned by state agencies. If the site already has an EPA ID, please provide it. For new notifications, if the site does not have an existing EPA ID, leave the field blank. If the site conducts hazardous waste activities, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ, will assign an EPA ID as needed. Please note that the EPA ID is site-specific. If your company relocates to a new site, you should submit a new notification form to obtain a new EPA ID for the site. Do not use numbers assigned to another site address. For companies that are transporters located in another state and shipping waste into Texas, please enter the EPA ID number assigned in your company's home state. It's important to notify as a hazardous waste transporter in your home state before applying for a solid waste registration in Texas. The regulated entity number, or RN, is a 9-digit number assigned by TCEQ. If your site or company already has an RN, please enter it. If the site does not have an RN, leave this item blank. TCEQ will assign an RN during the registration process if the site does not have an existing RN. Continuing on to the site name. This is the name which the site will be recognized. It's important to use fully descriptive name. For instance, instead of just warehouse for, use ABC Company Warehouse for. If a site does not have an existing regulated entity number, or RN, the registration and reporting section will use the site name as the regulated entity name. When you fill out this form on a computer, the site name will automatically populate to the other pages of the form. Now let's talk about the TCEQ Central Registry Naming Standards. According to these standards, a site should not contain organizational endings such as INC, CO, LP, etc., unless it's an integral part of the site name. This standard applies to all the following organizational endings. Please Please note that if your notification paperwork includes any of the above organizational endings in the facility name field, it may be returned for correction unless justification is provided. To avoid any delay in processing your notification, please ensure you follow these standards. Thank you for your attention to these details. They are crucial for maintaining a smoother registration process and ensuring compliance with TCEQ standards. Let's continue to work together for a safer and cleaner environment. Thank you. Number 4. Street address is where you enter the physical street address of the site. Do not provide a P.O. box. If the site has no street address, complete number 5 instead. On number 5, site location description, leave this field blank unless the site does not have a street address to provide in number 4. Enter specific directions for how to reach the site if the physical location of the site has no street address. Be sure to include at least 2 cross streets for reference. For example, east on County Road 101 from US 83, turn left after 1.3 miles. Go 0.3 miles. Number 6, enter the city for the physical location of the site. If the site is not within city limits, enter the nearest city in the field. Number 9, county. Enter the county in which the site is located. If the site extends over multiple counties, enter the county containing the majority of the site. Number 10, latitude. If you provided a site location description in number 5 instead of a street address in number 4, you must also provide the site's latitude in number 10. Enter the latitude using up to 6 decimals. Do not provide minutes and seconds. Number 11, longitude. The same applies for longitude that applies for latitude. Remember, do not provide minutes and seconds. Part A, number 12, primary NAICS. It's a standardized system used to classify business and industries based on their economic activities. Each industry is assigned a 6-digit NAICS code that reflects its primary business. On IHW Registration Form, you'll find a field labeled Primary North American Industry Classification System Code. This code helps identify the primary industry or business activity associated with the waste generator. How to determine your NAICS code, visit the U.S. Census Bureau's NAICS website or use other resources to find the appropriate code for your business. Consider the main activities of your facility when selecting the code. Part A, number 13, site land type. Check the box that best describes the land type of your site. Most sites are private, since most sites are privately owned. Select only one type: private, county, district, federal, tribal, municipal, state, or other. If your site's land type could be described as municipal and another land type such as county, district, or tribal, do not check municipal. Instead, choose the other appropriate land type. Moving on to Part B, owner-operator information. First, the owner/operator is the individual or organization responsible for the site. The information included in this part should refer to the legal entity that is the owner and operator of the waste activities registered on this form. If one entity is the owner of the waste activities and the other entity is the operator of the waste activities, see number 16 and Part H. If the owner and operator are separate legal entities, provide the owner's information in Part B. Number 14, customer number. Enter the 9-digit customer number, or CN, here if TCEQ has already assigned one to the organization/individual. If the organization/individual does not have a customer number, leave this item blank. A new CN is assigned only if the owner/operator has not yet been issued a CN. A customer may be involved with many sites and/or licenses, but should only have one single CN. Number 15, owner-operator name. This name should be the complete legal name as filed with the Secretary of State or Comptroller of Public Accounts. Unless the owner-operator is an individual or sole proprietor. Verify the correct legal name for the organization by searching the Secretary of State or the Texas Comptroller website, or by calling their helplines listed here. The owner-operator listed may be an individual, trust, firm, joint stock company, federal agency, corporation, including a government corporation, partnership, association, state municipality, commission, political subdivision of a state, or interstate body responsible for all overall operation and ownership of a site. Note, this is the legal entity which controls the site, rather than the plant or site manager. This is usually a company or business name, but may be an individual. Number 16. Separate operator checks this box if a different legal entity than the site owner operates the site. Indicate the owner information below and fill out the operator addendum in Part H if they are separate. Number 17. Type of customer. Check one box that best indicates the customer relationship to the site. A limited liability company, LLC, is considered a corporation. If none of the boxes fit your situation, check other and write in the relationship. Tax information. Number 18. Federal Tax ID. All businesses except some small sole proprietors and individuals should have a federal taxpayer identification number. Do not enter a social security number in this field. Do not use prefixes, dashes, or hyphens. For more information, go to the irs.gov website listed. The links covered here are also provided in the description. Number 19. Texas State Tax ID. Leave this field blank if the customer has not been issued a Texas State Tax ID. If one has been issued, enter it here. Check the State Comptroller's website for a listing of the tax ID. Number 20. Texas SOS/CPA filing number. Leave this field blank if the customer is not filed with the SOS/CPA as a corporation, limited partnership, or nonprofit organization. If the customer has filed with the SOS, which is Secretary of State, enter the filing number/charter number here. You can search the SOS filing number at the link on the page. On the owner-operator mailing section, only enter the mailing address where the general correspondence will be received regarding owner-operator information. For example, the owner-operator headquarters. Ensure the mailing address and zip +4 is correct per the USPS zip code lookup website. Part C. Contact information. Primary site contact. Provide the information for the individual who represents your site for waste management issues, often an environmental supervisor or plant manager. This is required for all new submissions. Billing contact. This is the individual or organization that acts as a representative for accounts payable issues and receives TCEQ invoices. This is required for all new submissions, except for transporters and transfer facilities. If the billing contact is the same as the primary contact, check Same as the primary contact or registering as a transporter above 39. Ensure the mailing addresses are deliverable per USPS. Part D. Waste Activities. Number 50. Registration Type. This question pertains to the waste activities. Check all the categories that apply. Receiver activity may require an industrial and hazardous waste permit. Receivers of off-site waste must also submit a monthly waste receipt summary each month in steers to report any waste received. Recycler activity may require an industrial and hazardous waste permit. Recyclers of off-site waste should also submit Form 00524, notification form for receiving and recycling hazardous or industrial waste. For questions about receiver and recycler activities, contact IHW Permits at 512-239-2335 or IHWPER at tceq.texas.gov. 51. Generator type. Indicate if the site is an industrial or non-industrial facility. For assistance in determining whether your facility is industrial or non-industrial, see Appendix F in the written instructions. If the site is non-industrial, go to question number 53. If the site is regulated by the Railroad Commission, contact the Railroad Commission to determine if any registration is required. Number 52. Industrial Class 1 Generator. This question refers to the amount of Industrial Class 1 generated at the site in a calendar month. For new notification, if this question has a Y marked, you must provide at least one Industrial Class 1 waste in Part F of the form. Check the box that applies to the site's Industrial Class 1 waste generation. If the site generates 220 pounds or more of Industrial Class 1 waste per month, check the box next to the Y. If the site's waste generation varies significantly from month to month, indicate the answer that best describes the majority of the calendar year. Number 53. Hazardous waste generator status. This question refers to the amount of hazardous waste generated at the site in a calendar month. For new notifications with any boxes checked in number 53, you must provide at least one hazardous waste stream in Part F. If the site's waste generation varies significantly from month to month, choose the category that best describes the majority of the calendar year. Check the box that applies to the site's hazardous waste generation. Transporter activities. If number 50 has transporter marked, answer questions 54 through 56. These questions pertain to hazardous and/or industrial class 1 waste only. To register as a transporter of municipal sludge, medical waste, or used oil, contact the IHW MSW registration team at 512-239-6413 or email wasteeval@tceq.texas.gov. 54. Waste types transported. Check all the categories that apply. Organizations and individuals must have or obtain an EPA identification number to transport hazardous waste. TCEQ will issue an EPA ID to hazardous waste transporters located in Texas when we issue a solid waste registration. Out-of-state hazardous waste transporters must obtain an EPA ID in the state where they are located prior to applying for a solid waste registration in Texas. Number 55. Transport for hire. Do you transport the waste listed above for hire? If your company transports waste for other companies, this answer should be Y. Indicate either Y or N. Number 56. Transport own waste. Are there any transported waste generated at your facility? If so, indicate Y for yes. Include waste sites owned by the same legal entity, even if they are a different location than the site registering. If you check Y for this question, you should also register as a generator. Other hazardous waste activities. Do not use this form to notify for activities in 57 through 63 unless you require a solid waste registration based on the activities in 50 through 56. If your site in Texas does not require a solid waste registration, use EPA Form 8700-12 RCRA Subtitle C Site Identification to notify for the activities in 57 through 63 only. See RG 2222, do you need industrial or hazardous waste registration numbers for guidance about whether your site requires a solid waste registration. Other hazardous waste activities. Number 57, large quantity handler of universal waste. Per 40 CFR 273, a large quantity handler of universal waste accumulates 5,000 kilograms or more of universal waste at any one time. Indicate all universal waste types managed at the site. Number 58. Destination Facility. A destination facility for universal waste is a facility that treats, disposes of, or recycles a particular category of universal waste. A facility that only accumulates universal waste is not a destination facility. Destination facilities require a permit. For questions about permitted activities, contact IHW Permits at 512-239-2335 or IHWPER at tceq.texas.gov. Number 59. United States Importer of Hazardous Waste. Check this box if you import hazardous waste from a site located in a foreign country into U.S. Refer to 40 CFR 262.10e and 40 CFR 262.84 for additional information. Large quantity generators who import hazardous waste need to submit an EPA biannual reporting forms for imported waste only to EPA Region 6. Report any hazardous waste on site in Texas on the annual waste summary. Contact the Registration and Reporting section for additional guidance on biennial reporting forms for importers of hazardous waste. Number 60. Recognized Trader. Check all the boxes that apply if you are a recognized trader as defined in 30 TAC 335.1. Number 61. Importer/exporter of spent lead-acid batteries. Check all the boxes that apply if you are an importer or exporter of spent lead-acid batteries being managed domestically under 30 TAC 335 Subchapter H, Division 4. 62. Healthcare facility operating under 30 TAC Chapter 335 Subchapter W. Check this box if you are a healthcare facility operating under 30 TAC Chapter 335, Subchapter W for the management of hazardous waste pharmaceuticals. A healthcare facility that is co-located within a larger facility that is not a healthcare facility, for example, a clinic at a military base, school, or manufacturer, should check this box in order to operate a healthcare facility under 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 335, Subchapter W. Number 63. Eligible academic entity under 40 Code of Federal Regulations 262, Subpart K. Check this box if you're an eligible academic entity and you elect to opt into or are currently operating under 40 CFR Part 262, Subpart K, as adopted under 30 Texas Administrative Code 335.59 for the hazardous waste generated in your laboratories. If you check this box, you must also check one of the types of eligible academic entities. The types of eligible academic entities are defined as college or university. You are an eligible college or university if you are a private or public post-secondary degree-granting academic institution that is accredited by an accrediting agency listed annually by the U.S. Department of Education. 1. Owned by a college or university, or 2. Has a master affiliation agreement and program letter of agreement as defined by the Accrediting Council for Graduate Medical Education, with an accredited medical program or medical school. Another type is teaching hospital, that is owned by or has a formal written affiliation agreement with a college or university, and you are an eligible teaching hospital if you are a hospital that trains students to become physicians, nurses, or other health personnel. A nonprofit institute that is owned by or has formal written affiliation agreement with a college or university. You are an eligible nonprofit institute if you are an organization that conducts research as its primary function and files as a nonprofit organization under Tax Code 26 USC 501c3 and is either 1. Owned by a college or university, or 2. Has a formal written affiliation agreement with the college or university that establishes a relationship between institutions for the purpose of research and or education and is signed by an authorized representative from each institution. A relationship on a project by project or grant by grant basis is not considered a formal written affiliation agreement. If the site has registered as a generator or reverse distributor, go to Part E. If the site has registered as a transporter only, go to Part G. Part E, Waste Management Units. This part identifies any unit where waste is accumulated, stored, treated, or disposed. Most sites have at least one waste management unit, also known as WMU, to store waste within their accumulation time limits prior to disposal. For new notifications, submit one Part E for each WMU at the site. As a reminder, LQGs must have a steers account for notifications and reporting. If the site is an LQG, submit only one WMU for the on-site unit that stores and manages the hazardous waste registered in Part F, registering the remaining WMUs via steers after receiving confirmation of the registration and setting up your steers account. 64. Unit sequence number. Assign a unique 3-digit unit sequence number to identify the WMU on your notice of registration. The sequence number can range from 001 to 999, no letters. Never assign the same sequence number to two waste management units. Facilities can use any number not previously used within the range of 001 to 999. And the numbers do not have to be sequential, but many facilities find sequential numbering makes it easy to track the sequence numbers used, and most start with 001. The sequence number remains tied to the unit until the unit is closed. If a waste management unit becomes inactive, do not reassign its sequence number to another unit. Number 65, Unit Type Code. Select the correct unit type code from the list provided in Appendix B of the written instructions to this form. Definitions of unit type descriptions are available in 30 Texas Administrative Code 335.1. Number 65, Unit Description. List any information that helps identify this WMU. For example, the type of WMU, its purpose, and its physical location. Here's an example. Hazardous waste less than 90 days storage tank south of Building A. Unit regulatory status. Select the correct unit regulatory status by placing a check in the appropriate box to the left of the description. Refer to 40 CFR section 260.10 and 30 TAC sections 335.2 and 335.24 for an explanation of terms. 13. RCRA permit exempt accumulation time. This status applies to small quantity generators and very small quantity generators storing hazardous waste prior to disposal. 03. RCRA permit exempt less than 90-day storage. This status applies to large quantity generators storing hazardous waste prior to disposal. 05. Non-hazardous regulated. This status should be used for Class 1, 2, or 3 industrial waste. 08. RCRA permit exempt wastewater treatment. 09. RCRA permit exempt totally enclosed treatment. 10. RCRA permit exempt other. 11. RCRA permit exempt recycling unit. Number 14. UIC registration. Number 68. System type code. The system type code, STC, also known as management method code, describes how the waste is managed in this WMU. Use the system type code that best applies to the on-site management of the waste in this unit, not any ultimate off-site management of the waste. See Appendix C in the written instructions for a list of STCs. Number 69, Texas Waste Codes. We covered TWCs earlier in the video. Here's a recap of the main points. Do not list TWCs generated off-site. Make sure any TWC listed corresponds to the WMU provided in Part F, number 77. A Texas Waste Code consists of 8 characters. For example, sequence number plus form code plus classification equals Texas Waste Code. Sequence code number 0001 plus 201 plus H equals 0001201H. Your Texas waste codes will combine the information from 70, 71, and 72 in Part F. See Part F for more information about Texas waste codes on your registration. Part F, waste streams generated at the site being registered. For information on identifying waste streams, read our guidelines for classification and coding of industrial and hazardous waste. TCEQ publication RG-022. Do not register used oil filters, or universal waste. For new notifications, submit one Part F for each waste at your site. Do not submit universal waste, used oil, or medical waste. As a reminder, LQGs must have STEERS account for notifications and reporting. If the site is an LQG, submit only one hazardous waste stream. Register the remaining waste streams via STEERS once you have received confirmation of your registration and have set up your STEERS account. If number 52 has a Y marked, submit at least one industrial class 1 waste stream. If number 53 has any box marked, submit at least one hazardous waste stream. Submit at least one hazardous waste stream to obtain an EPA ID as a generator. If the waste is recycled, you may need to submit TCEQ Form 00525, Generator Notification Form for recycling hazardous or industrial waste. The Texas Waste Code consists of 8 characters. For example, sequence code plus form code plus classification equals Texas Waste Code. 001 plus 201 plus H equals 001201H. Your Texas Waste Code will combine the information from numbers 70, 71, and 72 in Part F. Number 70, sequence number. Assign a unique 4-digit waste sequence number to identify the waste on your NOR. The sequence number can range from 0001 to 99999. Never assign the same sequence number to 2 waste. Facilities can use any number not previously used within the ranges. And the numbers do not have to be sequential. Many facilities find sequential numbering makes it easier to track the sequence numbers used, and most start with 0001. After registering a waste code, the sequence number cannot change. Number 71, Texas Form Code. Select the Texas Form Code from Appendix D in the written instructions that best describes this waste stream. The form code is always 3 digits. After registering a waste code, the form code cannot change. Refer to RG-022, Classification and Coding of Industrial Hazardous Waste to assist with determining the Texas Form Code. Number 72, Class Code. Indicate one class code for the waste H, 1, 2, or 3. Refer to RG-022, Classification and Coding of Industrial Hazardous Waste to assist with determining the class code. H stands for hazardous waste per EPA regulations. Class 1 equals Class 1 per TCEQ regulations, industrial waste only. Number 2 equals Class 2, and number 3 equals Class 3. This is all per TCEQ regulations of industrial hazardous waste only. All Class 3 notifications must be accompanied by a classification documentation. After registering a waste code, the classification code cannot change. 73. Description of waste and generation process. This description should include what the waste is, how the waste was generated, names of chemicals in the waste. Example, spent solvent from degreasing operation in tool production. Steel blocks are machined to specific shape, then rinsed with solvent prior to painting. Waste is a mixture of mineral spirits and metal shavings. Number 74. Date of generation. Provide the first date This waste was first generated at the physical location for the registration in month, day, year format. The date of generation must be the current date or earlier. We are not able to enter future generation dates. If you plan to generate a waste in the future, you should wait until after the initial date of generation to notify TCEQ of the waste stream. Refer to Texas Administrative Code 335.6C for timeframes for the submission. Number 75, Origin Code. Check one of the origin codes listed below that best describes the generating process or activity for this waste stream. Number 1 was generated on-site from a product or service activity. This is the most commonly applicable origin code. Number 2 resulted from spill cleanup, equipment decommissioning, or emergency removal. For new or inactive sites that only need a temporary waste generation with this origin code should submit the unregistered inactive episodic generator notification instead of obtaining a solid waste registration. Number 76, waste is accumulated, treated, or disposed on site. Check why if the waste is stored, accumulated, treated, or disposed on site. Most facilities will have Y checked for both 76 and 78. On-site management includes accumulation time, storage prior to being sent off-site for treatment, storage, or disposal. If number 76 has Y checked, provide the 3-digit sequence number of the waste management unit where the waste is treated, stored, accumulated, or disposed in number 75. Number 77, WMU sequence numbers. Provide the 3-digit sequence number of all the WMUs where the waste is stored, accumulated, treated, or disposed on site. If more than 6 WMUs store manage this waste, list the additional WMUs on a separate page. For new notifications, you should have provided the sequence number for the Waste Management Unit in Part E, number 64. Make sure that any WMUs listed correspond to the list of the TWCs provided in Part E, number 69. Number 78, waste is managed/disposed off-site. Check why if the waste is sent off for storage, treatment, or disposal. Most facilities will have a Y checked for both number 76 and number 78. Number 79, new chemical substance. Industrial Class 2 and Class 3 waste only. Check this box if the new chemical substance not currently listed on the Toxic Substances Control Act chemical substance inventory. Most substances do not qualify as a new chemical substance. If the waste is Class 2 or Class 3, attach copies of all information, documentation, and rationale used to classify the waste. For hazardous waste only, questions number 80 through 83 pertain to hazardous waste only. If this waste is non-hazardous, do not fill out questions 80 through 83 and go to number 84. Number 80, source code. Enter the source code listed in Appendix E that best describes the production, service, or waste management process associated with the generation of this waste. Number 81, mixed radioactive waste. Check yes if the hazardous waste is mixed with nuclear source material, special nuclear material, or nuclear byproduct material. If not, check no. Number 82, origin code 5 and source code G25. If you indicated origin code 5 in number 75 and source code G25 in number 80 for this waste stream, indicate the system type code that correlates to the on-site management method for the waste. Choose from the list of system type codes in Appendix C of the written instructions. Number 83, EPA hazardous waste numbers/codes. These numbers are always 4 characters long and begin with a D, F, P, K, or U, and are referred to as EPA hazardous waste numbers, or EHWNs, or codes. List all applicable EHWNs If the waste has more than 23 of these, continue listing them on a separate page. See Appendix G for a list of the EPA hazardous waste numbers and 40 CFR Part 261 for additional information. Part G, Certification. Prepare information. Provide information for the person who completed the form in 85 through 90. Authorized signer. An authorized representative is a person responsible for the overall operation of the site, i.e., a plant manager or superintendent, or a person of equal responsibility. The authorized signer certifies the information provided in the form is complete and accurate, and that they have signature authority to submit this form on behalf of the entity listed as the site name. Number 98, Signature. We do not accept documents that have digital or stamped signatures. Forms for new notifications require an original signature, not a duplicate. New registration forms must be sent in by mail to Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, Registration and Reporting Section MC-129, P.O. Box 13087, Austin, Texas 78711-3087. Use the following address for any submissions sent via overnight services. Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, Registration and Reporting Section MC-129, 12100, Park 35 Circle, Building D, Austin, Texas 78753. We do not accept any email submissions for IHW. Mailing information is located under Part G on the IHW Registration Form. Part H, Operator Addendum. Fill this part out only if the box next to number 16 is checked. The customer information included in this part should refer to the legal entity that is the operator only of the waste activities registered on this form. If the owner and operator are separate legal entities, provide the owner's information in Part B. If the owner and operator are the same legal entity, do not fill out or submit Part H. Number 99, Customer Number. Enter the 9-digit customer number here if the TCEQ already assigned one to the organization/individual. If the new organization or individual does not have a customer number, leave this item blank. A new CN is assigned only if the operator has not yet been assigned a new CN. A customer may be involved with many sites and/or licenses, but should only have one single CN. Number 100, Operator Name. This name should be the complete legal name as filed with the Secretary of State's Office or Comptrollers of Public Accounts, unless the owner-operator is an individual or sole proprietor. Verify the correct legal name for the organization by searching the Secretary of State and/or Texas Comptroller websites, or by calling their helplines. Part I. LQG Consolidation of VSQG Hazardous Waste Addendum. Fill this part out only if the large quantity generator with the registration listed at the top of the form will accumulate hazardous waste from very small quantity generators under the control of the same person as allowed under 30 Texas Administrative Code 335.53F. Part I. LQG Consolidation of VSQG Hazardous Waste Addendum. Number 112. VSQG EPA IDs and site names. In each row of the table in 112, list the EPA ID and site name for each site. Please read Part I in the written instructions for more information. New Transporters Only Checklist. Fill out all required questions in Part A. Transporters should provide the location of their office or truck lot and the site information. Fill out all required questions in Part B and C. On Part D, Transporter Activities, if number 50 has Transporter marked, answer questions 54 through 56. Number 54, Waste Types Transported. Check all the categories that apply. Out-of-state transporters must obtain an EPA ID in the state where they are located prior to applying for a solid waste registration in Texas for hazardous waste. Number 55, transport for hire. Indicate either yes or no. Number 56, transport own waste. If you check yes for this question, you should also register as a generator. And finally, fill out Part G, sign it, and then mail it to us. You can now view the progress of your submissions online. Go to the link provided, also available in the description below, then select TCEQ Program dropdown IHW Reg. Then select the Site Facility Name dropdown and type the name you put on the form. Thank you for attention to these details. They are crucial for maintaining a smoother registration process and ensuring compliance with TCEQ standards. Let's continue to work together for a safer and cleaner environment. If you have any questions about Industrial and Hazardous Waste Registration Form, contact us at 512-239-6413 or at wasteval@tceq.texas.gov. To learn how to set up a STEERS account, click on the picture to the right. A link will also be provided in the description below.